So my name is Ashish. I'm a blockchain certified professional, and I'm here to give you a brief introduction into the blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hyperledger. These are the major technologies that we are using these days. So let's understand what is blockchain. Let's understand what is the concepts, frameworks, languages, and the various applications. And let's try to keep this interactive. So what is blockchain? Everybody has this question, and there are numerous myths and answers. Let me first quickly put to in very simple words, blockchain is a chain of blocks, right? As the name suggests, it's a chain of blocks. Nothing more, nothing less. It is a database. It's a ledger, like you have in your passbook for a bank entry. There's a credit, there is a debit, there is a balance. There is a ledger in any of your traditional shopkeepers also. There is a ledger with your anybody, an RTI in a mandi also, or in a corporate also. There are ledgers, there are entries of credit and debit and balance. So it's a database. So if somebody asks you what is a blockchain, blockchain is a ledger. Blockchain is the chain of blocks. So what makes it interesting is that it's the distributed ledger and it is an immutable ledger. Distributed, when I say, it means that it is decentralized in nature. Decentralized, like there is no one server where the data is kept. There are hundreds and thousands of nodes which are participating in a blockchain, and all those nodes are having an exact copy of the database at all the times. So if there are 10,000 nodes all over the world, so every person, every node will have an exact copy of this ledger. So even if 1,000 people are inaccessible, 2,000 people are inaccessible, still 8,000 people will be having this copy of the ledger with them. There is no way the data is lost or is inaccessible. You can access the data from any node at any time. So the data is distributed on a decentralized server. There is no one common server. It's a decentralized. It is immutable. Immutable means which cannot be mutated. You cannot edit it. When it is not editable, so it is safe, it is secure. Because, and what makes it immutable is the block has a reference of the previous block. Now, for example, you have a newspaper that is coming into your homes every morning, right? Now, in this newspaper, suppose you want to change something of day before yesterday. Can you do that? Well, you will have to go to all the houses which have got this newspaper 3 days back and then ask them for a copy and cut out and change it, right? Simple? Well, practically impossible, right? So you can say that a newspaper, you cannot change something which has already been printed and the copies are distributed. So in here also, what we have is, we have like a block. The blocks are nothing containing but transactions, right? So what do we have in these blocks? We have transactions, right? So every block will have any number of transactions, say 2,400 numbers of transactions are there in one block. Credit entry, debit entry. So all these transactions, they go into a certain block. This is when the next block is made, there is a hash of the data of this block, which forms the basis for the next block's entry. So what do we say here? Suppose this is block number n. This is block number n plus 1. And this is block number n plus 2, right? In such a case. Now, every time you have to go from one block to another, you have to go from one block to another, you have to go from one block to another. You carry the hash of the previous block into your next block. So whatever is the data here, this data, block data, will be forming a previous block's hash is going into the next block also. this block's data will be going into the block of the n+2 also. So if I'm trying to change something of block n, there is no way I can do it. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay. So the hash of the data of block n will be going into a hash into the block of n+1. The hash of n+1 will be going into the block of n+2. So if I have to change a block n today, the hash of the block of n+1 will also change and the block of n+2 will also change. And you must be knowing that the hashes are not, you cannot predict what is the data of which the hash was made. It is a one-way street. You cannot say that, okay, I know this is the hash and this must be the output of the same. Right? I'll just show you an example. If you can. So if the hash of a data, suppose I write the name Ashish and I make a hash of it. It is a string of alphanumeric words. But if I make a small change to it, suppose I just add a dot to it, the hash will change completely. There's no way if I can read the two hashes, I can make out that the one hash is of word which is very similar to the next one, right? So there is I'm trying to generate a hash of a string. I think so there is some latency in the network. Okay, let's leave it here only. We'll go back to this. So what we say is that the blockchain, a chain of blocks, a database, a ledger which is distributed, decentralized, and immutable in fashion. And this is because of the fact that each block has a reference of the previous block. The hash is carried forward. If there are any questions, you can ask me now, or we'll go on to the next topic. Any questions till now?
क्लास में नहीं पढ़ना, मैं तो मैं नहीं पीनेगी.
Mr. Vineet, do you have any question?
If you has muted it, or if you do have any question, then ask.
Sir.
So what is Bitcoin? A Bitcoin is just an application of the blockchain. It is not a blockchain in itself. It is only an application on the blockchain. It is the first one also. It was outcome of the 2008 financial crisis. What happened in 2008? There were a lot of banks which had given loans to people who were not secured and who were not capable of returning those loans. They just wanted to cover their targets. They wanted to reach a certain standing in the market, but they kept on giving loans to people who were not creditable enough. So they lost a lot of money and they could not repay the money to the debitors, to the depositors. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency which was invented by a person or an organization by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows, nobody has heard, nobody has seen this person or anybody. He's just somebody on the net who had circulated a white paper and he made the protocol of blockchain based Bitcoin cryptocurrency. So what happens in here is that you buy and sell a cryptocurrency which has a virtual currency on the internet, and it has a certain value attached to it. So the value is purely based on the demand and supply market. So just like in a share market, you have demand and supply, so the share prices keep on going up and down. Similarly, for Bitcoin also, there is a fluctuation in the demand. Fluctuation in demand means there is a fluctuation in price also. So there is a mining which is involved in here. What is a mining? That every transaction which is carried out, it has to be verified. So the miners have to solve a mathematical puzzle, and whosoever does it first, he gets a reward of mining. So it used to be 50 bitcoins for one block which is mined when it was started, and then every 4 years this mining reward is halved. So it came down to 25, it came down to 12.5. Now in this year, it's the 2020. It is likely to come down to now 6.25 bitcoins per mining. And there is a total supply attached to it, which is 21 millions. So after the 21 million bitcoins are mined, there will not be any more bitcoins coming into the market. So that means the supply side will be stable at 21 millions, but the demand side will keep on happening because there is a applications which are very, very convenient to carry on with Bitcoin. So if you say why mining is required, mining is actually a proof of work. Somebody has to do a work so that he gets a reward for it. So mining is nothing but solving a mathematical puzzle. We have a nonce value. We have to determine which is that value which is smallest in number, which can qualify for a certain case condition. So the reward is the bitcoins. As I told you, started with 50 bitcoins. Then it came down to 25. Every 4 years, the Bitcoin reward is halved. So now in May 2020, it will be halved to 6.25. So mining is nothing but a reward for a proof of work. So that was the small introduction that I could give on Bitcoin. If you have any questions, you can write in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer them also. So it is not a physical currency, it is a cryptocurrency. It is generated on the internet, it is spent on the internet only. But yes, you can buy this currency using your US dollar or euro or Indian rupees over any exchange. So mining is a very lengthy topic. I don't want to go too much deep into it, but I can only tell you that mining is it's a verification of the transactions. Like for example, if I'm paying X, person X is paying person Y 5 bitcoins. What I need to verify is that yes, person X has 5 bitcoins in his wallet, and yes, person Y has a valid wallet or not. So a transaction can go through. So this transaction can go through. All the transactions in the block, which are like 2,400 transactions, all those transactions are valid. So somebody has to verify them, and then only they can be put on the block. So when a new block is added, it is distributed to all the nodes. So everybody has a copy of the database. So everybody updates his database with the latest block. So that is how the blockchain progresses. So as I told you, cryptocurrency is a currency which is cryptographically hashed and generated over the internet. It is not a fiat currency. You cannot touch this currency. There is no coins. There are no currency notes. There are no promissory notes or any stamp paper, etc. It is purely a currency of the net. So typically speaking, it is not a currency in itself. It is a transfer of value. So mining reward, as I told you, that somebody has to solve a mathematical puzzle. Somebody has to verify all the transactions. So somebody who's doing this work, he is using his computational power. He's using the electricity, using the air conditioning air conditioning load. So he has to be paid for it. So he is paid by the reward is in forms of Bitcoin again. So 21 million is the total supply. After 21 million Bitcoins are mined, no more Bitcoins will be generated. So whatever this 21 millions are there in the market, people will keep on buying and selling them only. Today, like we are adding 12.5 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. So that will be half to 6.25 Bitcoins next month. But going on forward, in a few years, 85% of the Bitcoins are now already mined. So once this 21 million reaches, then we will stop the supply of any more new Bitcoins into the cryptocurrency markets. So we'll now progress to the next topic. It's a very interesting topic. It will take some time for you to go through it. So it's a cryptocurrency invented by a person or organization by the name of Nakamoto. Bitcoin mining concept was introduced with a total supply of 21 million. Now let us understand what is Ethereum. Sorry, due to paucity of time, I have to just rush through this topic. This is just a demo class, but it's a very detailed topic. And once we are inside the class, then we will have a detailed discussion on this. So what happened was that sometime around 2013, there was a boy named Vitalik Buterin. He was a writer on the Bitcoin magazine. And when he was in his college, like you chaps are there, he was developing a project. The project was that in a blockchain, why cannot we transfer some code also? Why are we just transferring a value? So he said, okay, we'll make an open source blockchain platform, which will be for the transfer of assets. So it is not just for a transfer of value, it is for a transfer of assets also. So the concept of smart contracts came into being. Now, what are smart contracts? Smart contracts are nothing but a code written on the net. So in a blockchain, you are not only transferring value, you are writing some code also, and based on the logic in that code, you can carry out many other operations. Like Bitcoin also, cryptocurrency has its own cryptocurrency, which is called Ether, and the symbol is ETH. So what happens here is, suppose you're traveling in a train and it says that the temperature of the AC coach will not go above 25 degrees centigrade. But suppose it actually does. Now, who is responsible for that and who will give me the refund for my ticket? Well, there's a long procedure involved. You will have to get it signed from the train ticket examiner, and then you will have to go to the station master, apply for a refund process. 99% of the people will just not go into that hassle and they will just walk off. But you're supposed to pay the travelers wherever the coach temperature has gone above 25 degrees. So if there is a smart contract and there is an IoT device attached that which records the temperature of the coach of every 5 minutes. So as soon as the temperature goes above a certain degree, the smart contract is triggered. It is written on the blockchain. It cannot be mutated, and somebody has to pay you back your money. So whether it is IRCTC or whether the Indian Railways, whosoever has issued you the ticket, there is an automatic transfer of assets. Assets here could be Indian rupees, it could be an Ether, it could be any other cryptocurrency also. So Ethereum is a very powerful blockchain. It is an open source one, and it is a public blockchain. So anybody can enter this blockchain. He can just make his own account. He will make a wallet and start trading immediately. So he can, it's very simple to write smart contracts here. Smart contracts are written in a language which is known as Solidity. So Solidity, if somebody is interested in knowing, I can show you something. So Solidity, readthedocs.io. You can go on this web page and see all the documentation regarding Solidity. So what are smart contracts? You can have smart contracts by example. You can read the smart contracts in depth. Solidity is very much similar to C++ or JavaScript or Python, etc. So if you guys are already experienced in these technologies, you will have no problem in going through this also. So any questions regarding Ethereum? Please do not write your questions privately to me. Please mark it to everyone in the meeting. Okay, so let's go forward to what is the hyperledger. Now, when the blockchain is progressing so rapidly, there was a need which was associated that it should be for some permissionless entries also, or permission entries also. So Hyperledger was founded by IBM in consultation with Linux. It is also an open source one, but it is an enterprise grade blockchain framework. So when I say enterprise grade, means it is suitable, it is restricted, it is controlled by a certain enterprise. Like for example, maybe let's say Maruti Udyog Limited, Maruti Suzuki. They have got maybe 500 vendors. They have around 1,000 dealers. They have 10 manufacturing plants, right? They have thousands of service station networks. So if they have to make a blockchain with only their dealers and service stations and vendors and manufacturing plants, they would not like any person outside their ecosystem to enter their blockchain, because then the data can be seen by everybody. It can be lost also. So what Hyperledger is very suitable is for an enterprise grade blockchain network where it is a private and it is a permissioned blockchain. So typically speaking, blockchain means that it is there for everybody to see, but therein also we can have permissions. We can make it private also. And within a blockchain, Hyperledger, it gives us a concept called channels, where certain people are only authorized to have certain operations. So it's a very methodically scripted that whatever corporate cultures are required to be performed, all those cultures can be directly replicated in a blockchain also. Like all the managers of a company can be having a separate channel in the Hyperledger blockchain. It could be only the vendors can have a certain channel. It can be certain, maybe service stations can have a separate channel. So the part supply, the vehicle supply, the vehicle maintenance, the component supply, they can all be controlled independent of each other. So there, herein also we can feature smart contracts. Again, smart contracts, they are very useful in passing on a lot of information which otherwise had to be sent through emails or faxes or letters or any other ERP structure. But with the use of a blockchain, it becomes really simple and it becomes immutable in nature. Hyperledger does not have any cryptocurrency as such, because it is more, as I told you, it is enterprise grade. It need not have a cryptocurrency of its own. It can, you can follow the procedure of the laws of the land, where the cryptocurrency is not required. You can use the fiat currency to do the normal banking procedures, but it's mainly for enterprise grade blockchain applications. So I'm open to questions on Hyperledger. What is the difference between Hyperledger and Ethereum? Well, as I told you, it is more on a private and a permission one, Hyperledger. But Ethereum is mainly public and is open to all.